Giving you guys an extra minute of overtime here. 7:59. We're getting started today. What's going on, my people? Good morning to everybody that's hanging out here, that's coming on the Sliwa Show on this Tuesday, October 8th. I greatly appreciate you guys being a part of the show. I just want to let everybody know that this morning show, which will be about 1 hour or so, will be 100% dedicated to the Padres-Dodgers game coming up here for Game 3. Got to be honest, since the show is kind of a little bit more Southern California-based, focused, it is impossible to talk about anything else. At least in my opinion, I don't think anybody really cares about some of the other series that are going on right now in baseball. NFL is taking a back seat while we're in the middle of October baseball, and primarily because it's the Padres and the Dodgers, and there's so many good storylines to this. So thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. This is episode number 6 of the Sliwa Show, and really enjoying doing this every Monday through Friday starting at 8 a.m. So if you've been listening to me to the past, whether it was on 710 ESPN or it's a lot of my Lakers content, I appreciate you guys being here. For all the Laker fans out there, you're going to have more Laker content than you can possibly imagine, but I don't think now is the time to be doing that. So full show dedicated to Padres and the Dodgers Game 3 and all the other drama that's coming with it. If you guys see on the rundown here, just to kind of show you guys, we're going to talk about this Dave Roberts and Manny Machado stuff that's going on. Do the Dodgers need a spark? Is that really kind of where we're at and what all this is about? Is this primarily because the Dodgers are looking for something to motivate them? I'll get your guys' opinion on that. It's the best thing I think could happen for baseball. Rivalries are incredibly important. I think this is great for baseball personally. And then, there's a baseball game tonight. Michael King versus Walker Buehler. We'll talk about the matchup. Doug McKain. I'm sure a lot of Dodger fans know Doug McKain. He covers the Dodgers for Dodgers Nation. He's done an incredible job. He's coming on in about 15 minutes. I'm going to have Doug McKain on and we'll take some of your guys' questions. All right, this is what I want to do to start off the show. By the way, top of the morning to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Hopefully before your day gets started, you have some positive affirmations that you can throw out there for yourself, and you get your day going with Sliwa starting at 8 a.m. every morning. But good morning to everybody. I'm already about 3 shots in of some espresso. That's a lot. Not going to lie. I'm usually a 2-shot guy, but right now I'm working on 3. I got a little espresso, not really a machine here. It's just those little kind of cups that you use, or those little, I don't know what the hell they're called. I got 3 of those that's already going. So right now, if I wanted to right now, based on the amount of coffee that I had with those 3 shots, I could do a triathlon right now. No problem. No problem. I could do a triathlon right now. I could jump in that water. I can go. I have no idea what any of the distances are for triathlon, so I probably couldn't do that. Okay. I'm going to ask anybody who's on here who wants to get involved. I want to ask everybody a quick question here, because I'm going to play some sound here from Dave Roberts. I'm going to play the video that started surfacing yesterday of Manny Machado throwing the ball towards the Dodgers dugout. And I want everybody to do the best that they can to just tell me whether you think there was some intent of what Manny Machado was doing, if you think it was bullshit what Manny Machado did, or if you think Dave Roberts is completely blowing this out of proportion. So I'm going to play the video first, and then from there, I'm going to play Dave Roberts right after that. I know there's a lot of comments that are usually going on during the show, which I'm greatly appreciative of. But do me a favor and just tell me what you think. Do you think, as best as you can, if you're a Dodger fan, I'm sure you're going to lean towards what Dave Roberts is saying. If you're a Padre fan, I'm sure you're going to lean towards, there's nothing to see here. But just to the best of your absolute ability, take that hat off for a quick second and tell me what you feel, all right? So let me share the screen with you guys here real quick, and we are going to play both of these here. So here first is going to be the video that everybody is talking about right now, and I want you guys to tell me. Here's Machado. Throws the ball over to the dugout. See right there, Teoscar Hernandez. See Glasnow. And then you see Dave Roberts.
Your team,
Play one more time here. Here's Machado. Throws the ball over to the dugout. Kind of bounces up right there.
Your team,
All right. Let's leave that alone for a quick second. Let's jump back over here. And I want to play Dave Roberts. He was asked about this yesterday. I'm going to forward this because I'm just going to basically go right to when he's answering the question. Let me play this for you guys here. Here's Dave Roberts yesterday. I think it was last night, responding of the question of, was there intent of Manny Machado throwing the ball towards the Dodgers dugout? Take a listen.
What, did you know that?
So I didn't know. I didn't notice it at the time. I really didn't. I didn't notice it. I did see the video, and it was unsettling. Obviously, I have a relationship with Manny from years past. There was intent behind it. It didn't almost hit me because there was a net. And that was very bothersome. If it was intended at me, I'd be very. It's pretty disrespectful. So I don't know his intent. I don't want to speak for him, but I did see the video, and the ball was directed at me with something behind it. So, but I don't know what led to that. I didn't see it in real time, but I did see the video.
Did you feel after seeing the video he should have been ejected for that?
I don't think they should have had a little arm around each other conversation. If players can throw balls at opposing managers, you know.
All right, so there is. I sent first played you guys the actual video of Manny Machado throwing the ball towards the dugout, and then obviously Dave Roberts. Listen, strategically or not, Dave Roberts clearly also blew this out of proportion because. And I'm going to talk about his intent. His intent might be, hey, if this can help my squad, then this is exactly what I'm going to do. And I think there is some reasoning behind that. Let me show you guys one more thing here, and then I'm going to start reading some of your comments. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on this as well. So the last thing that I want to show you guys is here. Let me make sure that I'm doing this right. Last thing I'm going to show you guys something here real quick on ESPN. And this, I think, just kind of shows is everyone blowing this out of proportion? Are they not? Here are your top headlines for all of sports right now. We know what's going on, the NFL, college football, MLB playoffs. Here's the top one. Roberts, Machado's throw into dugout, unsettling. Okay. I'm done with sharing the screen. Now we could sit here and just kind of have a conversation. You guys are well aware that I'm a San Diego Padre fan. I'm from San Diego. I'm broadcasting right here from San Diego in Solana Beach, California. But I feel like I have a pretty good ability to just be completely honest and go from there. Okay. Would I rather have seen Manny Machado not throw the ball towards the Dodgers dugout? Sure. Probably. Do I feel like there's a little bit extra juice of that throw going towards the dugout? Probably a little bit. Nothing crazy, but enough for an umpire to go talk to Manny Machado in between innings. Enough for Teoscar Hernandez to throw his hand up and be like, what the hell was that? Enough for Jack Flaherty, who they were already jawing with each other anyways. Maybe that sparked a little something after that. Do I think the world is over? No. Do I think that Major League Baseball needs to step in and suspend Manny Machado for tonight's game? Of course not. Or suspend Manny Machado for the series? Of course not. No, I don't think it's anything of that intent or it's that big of a deal. Part of me is trying to figure out here, does Dave Roberts believe what he's saying, or is Dave Roberts trying to spark a Dodgers team that is in a dogfight with the Padres, either team can win this series. If the Dodgers end up winning this series in 4 or 5, it should not be a surprise or a shock. If the Padres win this series, if they wrap it up these next 2 games at Petco Park, that shouldn't be a shock as well. This is a dogfight. It is. And this is a good series. And these are 2 teams that clearly don't like each other. If there's a criticism that comes with Dave Roberts, I'll tell you what the criticism is, especially, me living in Los Angeles and covering the Dodgers on a day-to-day basis. We would talk about the Dodgers every single day when I was up there at 710 ESPN. Let me tell you some of the criticisms that come with the Dodgers and that come with Dave Roberts. Some of the criticisms are, hey, this team's it's just a corporation. I mean, basically everything is just a math equation and there's no emotion in it. And if you look at the times that the Dodgers have lost in the playoffs over the last couple of years, you pick whether it was the San Diego Padres in 2022, it always felt like the Dodgers just kind of lacked this certain emotion and continuity and this fight that some other teams you feel like have it. Right now, watching the Phillies and the Mets in that series, really good series. Series tied 1 apiece. Mets are just this kind of unbelievable team that keep coming back and you can't kill them. Every time you think they're dead, they come out of nowhere. I don't think I need to talk about the way the Philadelphia Phillies play with the type of emotion that they play and the way that stadium's always rocking and the way those players are always kind of taking their game to another gear. The San Diego Padres seem to have in game 2 a psychological and they seem to have some type of advantage that wasn't just baseball. It was also, are they getting under the skin of the Dodgers? Did they just punk the Dodgers and are the Dodgers going to do anything about it? That's been one of the main criticisms that I think have come out of the Dodgers organization over the last few years, that they're so freaking corporate. That basically everybody just comes to work. They have their sack lunch. They're incredibly talented. They clock in, they clock out, and that's it. Is Dave Roberts' intent in trying to make this a big deal? Now, some of you guys may think, Al, this is a big deal. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say this is maybe between a 5 or a 6 big deal. And I think I'm actually stretching it to probably making it a bigger deal than it really is. But this is also 2 organizations that there's a 10, 12-minute delay because of baseballs being thrown, stuff being thrown at Padres players. This is a Jack Flaherty who's talking shit when he strikes out Manny Machado. It's these teams these 2 teams that have a constant, I don't like you, you don't like me. The city of San Diego is looking at LA saying, we want to beat your ass, and LA is saying, we want to whoop your ass. There's a lot of emotion that's going on between these 2 franchises and these 2 organizations, and you can't really, you can't pretend that that doesn't exist. I think Dave Roberts is looking for an opportunity. I don't think it's 100% organic, but I think he's looking for any type of edge to get his team and his organization that feels like when they get to the playoffs, it's just everything becomes a statistic and there isn't enough emotion for it. When it comes to Dodgers baseball, is trying to find an angle to wake up some of his guys. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe he just also thinks, did that SOB just throw the ball towards our dugout? And if I get asked that question, I'm going to call it out. Well, they went far enough to submit the video to Major League Baseball to try to see if, Major League Baseball is going to jump in and do anything. I'll tell you what Major League Baseball is doing right now. They're saying this is freaking great. Major League Baseball right now is saying to themselves, are you kidding me? We got a 6:08 start tonight between the Dodgers and the Padres in Game 3. And not just Southern California is going to be watching. We might be grabbing people from all across the country to be watching this game. Why? Because there are storylines. Why? Because there is drama. And again, I'll go back to what I just said. You can have your own interpretation of, Manny, what are you doing there? You can have your interpretation to say, Dave, I think you're blowing this out of proportion. Or you might say, no, Dave's doing the exact right thing. Personally, for me, I think there's a little strategy here from Dave Roberts. Because here's what's happening in this series so far. In this series so far, you know what's being talked least about than anything else is Game 3. What's being talked about least than anything else right now that's going on is Michael King is facing Walker Buehler tonight. that the Padres have a chance to go up 2-1 and probably favored in this game, that the Dodgers could have their backs against the wall if they lose this game, that if the Dodgers found a way, if their bats woke up again like they did in Game 1 against Dylan Cease, they can be up 2-1 and a chance to close it out tomorrow. None of that's being talked about. What's being talked about is 100% just the drama. It's good for baseball. I don't know how good it is for either one of these teams. I feel like either one of these teams can easily get distracted right now and start looking at things personal, then start looking at things, hey, just go try to get a W. That's my feeling up to this point. My feeling up to this point, and I actually have some concern on this. If you're the San Diego Padres, my concern would be, guys, this is becoming so personal. Is it going to take away from your ability to just go win Game 3? For the Dodgers, kind of a similar thing. Hey, are they getting under your skin? Are you so worried now about Manny Machado and Jurickson Profar and Fernando Tatis Jr.? Are you so worried about these guys individually that now that's taking your focus away from trying to go get a win in Game 3? I think there's obviously a lot there, and that's what's going on as we sit here. Okay, as I mentioned, and very, very appreciative here to have him come join us. So I think everybody knows McKain, who covers the Los Angeles Dodgers, Dodgers Nation, joining us as we speak, getting all ready there, getting all set to go. Doug, what's up, brother?
My man, Mr. Alan Sliwa. How we doing, my man?
I'm okay, man.
Getting ready.
Yeah, you look like, the way I look at right now, the way you have your backdrop set up here, I feel like you're the only one right now at Dodger Stadium. You are allowed in, and you basically have said, look, guys, you guys can go down to Petco Park and do whatever you do. I'm going to be right here going to work. That's what it looks like. You're all business right now.
I'm just sitting here dodging beers being thrown at me from fans, because I like to keep it 100 about the Dodgers, and I don't like to sugarcoat things. And that's kind of how I get down with my show. I kind of like to keep it a buck. And sometimes when it comes to their team, they don't like it. But I think that's also why people appreciate my show as well, because I think it's not about just sunshine pumping. This Dodgers team is in for a real battle against a team and a franchise that has really geared themselves towards beating this team. They did it once in 2022, and after a 50-50 start through 100, they go 43-19 down the stretch, and they're aiming to do it once again. And they have all the momentum in the world. It feels like the Padres are in the Dodgers' heads a little bit, and hey, we're due for more classic baseball down at Petco Park in San Diego for the next 2 games.
So, Doug, here's what I did, and I know you probably already done this before. By the way, good to see you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you hanging out here and obviously getting a chance to preview this game with us. But what I just did here is to start off the show, I spent a little time. I played the video that everybody has seen. It's Manny Machado getting the ball in between innings. If you ask, I'm sure if you ask a San Diegan, they're going to say, guys, nothing to see here. I'm sure if you ask a Dodger fan, you're basically saying, hey, Manny should be in jail for the next 3 to 5 years. I'm just curious to get your opinion on, before we get into Dave Roberts' comments about it, what's your thoughts of what you saw, the video that comes up and in between innings there of Manny throwing the ball towards the dugout?
So as far as the throw itself, I mean, if you watch it a couple of times, it was a light toss into the dugout. It wasn't a lot happening there. But if you know Manny Machado, and I know you do, and fans of your show absolutely have been probably following him for years, even dating back to his time with the Orioles, Manny's a guy who will do something and act like he didn't have any intention there, right? I mean, dating all the way back to Pedroia. You look at the 2018 World Series when he steps on Aguilar's ankle, right? I mean, it's always kind of a thing with Manny Machado where I did something, but I act like I did nothing, and it's just kind of pure innocence, right? I think when it comes to baseball in general, I don't think that there was some malicious intent, like he's trying to knock Dave Roberts' head off in the dugout or bruise his eye or anything like that. But it's Manny Machado, okay? And look, you have certain characters in sports that are going to lean into the villain role more than others, okay? And yes, Manny has changed a lot since going down to San Diego. He's matured a lot. He's become this team leader. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to stoke the flames a little bit. That doesn't mean he's not going to poke guys especially Jack Flaherty, who told him to sit the F down, okay? Manny Machado is an all-star player who's very proud of his accomplishments at this level, and he doesn't want a starting pitcher of another team telling him to sit the F down. So it's no surprise to me that he was going to do at least a little something the next inning to try to spark something. So is it something that deserves a suspension? Is it something that deserves anything? That no. Did Dave Roberts saying, okay, I'm a little unsettled by it, was that a little bit of overreaction? It might be just a little bit, but it just shows you the tension level between these two clubs is just so high that something like that can really spark something between these two clubs. But I do think there was just a little bit of, hey, you know what? I'm just going to throw this baseball in there and kind of let you know about it.
All right. Yeah, I've kind of seen this, and I think that's a perfect way to explain it. But I've seen this from, I feel like a lot of the vibe when I was in LA and talking about the Dodgers, a lot of their postseason troubles that they've had, and clearly have, they have not, for what their record has been over these last 10, 11, 12 years, you would think they would have cashed in more. They would have more playoff success. A lot of chatter has been around, well, it seems like such a team that it's just corporate America. And it's like this, I come to work, I'm really, really talented, I kill it when I'm at work, and then that's it. And it doesn't really feel like there's too much emotion that comes. I'm not, of course there's emotion that comes into the game, but do you think any of this, the Dave Roberts, is he trying to spark something? Is there anything that he's trying to take from this and saying, hey, A, okay, it was Machado. B, we're coming off a game where there was a lot of emotions. C, can I use this in any way to spark my team and see if I can make it a little bit more personal? Maybe guys that just kind of come to work and are calm, cool, and collected, can I get something out of them because I'm trying to? Is there any intention from Dave Robert trying to do that to spark the Dodgers?
So I think if you're Dave Roberts, just kind of being around him, talking to him throughout the last couple of seasons, I really get the sense that one of his best qualities is staying even keel and riding the highs and lows of a regular season, right? But in the postseason, things come at you very fast. And just like that, the Padres have already taken home field advantage away from the Dodgers, despite them finishing with the best record in baseball. And I think in this situation, Dave Roberts realizes that, yeah, sure, baseball, you know, the old cliche, momentum is only as good as the next game starting pitcher. He realizes that, but I also think that he understands heading into this series. He said that he put it out there that his team was playing with more of an edge, right? He wants to see an edgier version of his guys because he realizes that, look, you see this Padres team, the fire, the passion that they play with, the fact that they would love nothing more than to end the Dodgers season. Well, for the Dodgers, it's not necessarily ending the Padres season. It's avoiding embarrassment. Let's just put it out there. Avoiding embarrassment. You talk about this team covering this team in Los Angeles for the last couple of years. I don't want to see the Dodgers as the answer to the question, which professional franchise has done less with more than any team in sports? Okay. And you look at the 60-game World Series, and that definitely should be celebrated, right? But when you look at the resources, we look at the talent level, the fact that you're on the cusp of potentially not getting past the NLDS for the third straight year and losing to an NL West team, and two of those three being as the Padres, I think the edge that Dave Roberts is looking for is, hey, you guys are a collection of all-stars, MVPs, some of the best players in the game. Well, your reputation, your legacy is going to be that you couldn't get past the NLDS. And I think that's where the edge needs to be. It's not like, oh, the Padres are doing this, they're dancing, they're causing stuff with the fans, they're antagonizing you, they're getting into this back and forth. I think it needs to be bigger than that, and just knowing that if you go down to this Padres team once again, that you're going to head into the offseason with a lot of questions to answer and some possible significant changes to your roster and possibly your manager.
Doug McKain, who covers the Dodgers Nation, does a fantastic job, killing it on all the platforms. I'm excited to talk to you specifically, Doug, because I know, and you are right. Anytime I do listen to you, and I know you're incredibly honest. Now, you're a Dodger fan, but you can still do both. You can be a fan and still be honest at the same time. I think this audience that I have on here, probably a mix right now. I think there's a lot of Padre fans that are also starting to come in. And it's just, look, it's exciting baseball. These two franchises have now faced each other 3 out of the last 5 years. I want to play something out for you because you brought it up. Let's just say, there's if the Dodgers lost this series, it wouldn't be a shock. The starting pitching right now of who they have left in the series. I didn't think Yamamoto or Flaherty, neither one of them were showing ace stuff in their first 2 starts that they had. If the Dodgers did lose and it's the Padres again moving on to the NLCS, what happens in the offseason?
So I've always said with Dave Roberts, he almost has to win 2 World Series to win 1, and the Dodgers fans would blame him for the sinking of the Titanic, and he's the guy, the front-facing guy that's going to take the blame and potentially fall on the sword. But I do think that we've entered the conversation because of how they lost Game 2. The way in which they lost Game 2, the first time the Dodgers have ever given up 6 home runs in a game. They get embarrassed 10-2. The fans, I mean, they got outplayed, outclassed, out-hustled. You had the juxtaposition of Manny Machado having that big speech in the dugout, and then you cut to Dave Roberts, and he's just silent there, not doing very much. The easiest thing for this team to do would be to replace Dave Roberts because financially, that's a drop in the bucket. And then you look at their roster, they're not going to make any significant changes to their roster, and you wouldn't want to do that really for the most part anyway because of the collection of talent that they have. So I think on the surface level, let's say they lose the next 2 games in San Diego, and they do it in embarrassing fashion. At that point, I think the conversation needs to be had that even though the true ball knowers out there know it's probably not Dave Roberts as the reason why they lost, because Dave Roberts isn't the reason why they've had more pitchers on the IL than any team in Major League Baseball, that when it comes to the days spent on the injured list, the Dodgers lead Major League Baseball by a wide margin, right? That responsibility is the scouting, the player development, the acquisitions in the front office and determining which guys they sign. But I do think that if one guy's going to fall on the sword from an optics standpoint in the offseason, I could certainly see them moving off of Dave Roberts in the offseason if you go down without a fight in San Diego and you go down in an embarrassing fashion, just because that really is the only move you can make. I know this organization does not like to panic, and the truth of the matter is if they hire another Dave Roberts, well, you're basically looking at someone who is going to be a conduit for the front office as far as the baseball ops department, the analytics department, kind of carrying out kind of their vision of how to manage the bullpen, manage the rotation, the lineup. But it's a situation where it's tough because check this out, Alan. I think when you look at sports right now and managers and coaches, the biggest disparity into how their career could go, I think falls under Dave Roberts. This is someone who, if he wins this series, if he finds a way to win a World Series this year or next year, he's headed to Cooperstown. He's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. And if he does that, he's like a Supreme Court judge. He can have this job as long as he wants it. But then if you flame out now, he could be replaced, and the Dodgers could be firing a manager that has the highest win percentage through the first part of his career than any manager in the history of sports. So, yeah, it's high-stakes poker. There's no doubt about it. But I do think at some point, fans are getting to the point where they're numb to these early October exits, and it's calls from Dave Roberts, from Mookie Betts, from Freddie Freeman being injured, and it's just we'll see, though. We'll see what happens tonight. But we're going to learn a lot about this franchise and the future of this franchise in the next 48 hours. I truly do believe that.
I'm gonna play it out another way because I think what you said about, and I've heard people say that that look at his winning percentage as a manager. Look how it's not easy to win 95, 98, 100, 105, 111 games in the regular season. But I would say this, and this is my pulse of how I feel like Dodger fans are, and you would have a much better pulse really than anyone in the game because of how often you're talking to Dodger fans, interacting them and everything else. At the end of the day, are the Dodgers going to be measured on what they did in the regular season, or are they going to be measured on what they did in the postseason? You and I know that answer. It's an easy answer. Are the Dodgers going to be measured on think of every resource that they have. Think of the market that they're in, the 50,000 plus fans that they sell out every single game, the Hall of Famers that are walking through, the lineup of what it looks like. You lose Trey Turner. It was Corey Seager before. Trey Turner's gone. Shohei Ohtani's in the line. Yeah, this is what it is. This is what the Dodgers do. I don't understand how, if they lost this series to the San Diego Padres, I don't understand how he has a job. This is just one person's opinion, but I don't think anyone in LA over the last couple years have looked at Dave Roberts and said, yep, he's got our vote of confidence because he can win in the regular season with a team, with a roster, with the scouts that you're talking about that are able to identify all these unbelievable young players as they come up the farm system, with the resources and the ability to go out and spend literally billions of dollars. I have a very difficult time that you would just say, hey, let's not change something again. And I don't disagree with what you're saying about well, it's not just Dave. If you think Dave Roberts is making every decision that's out there, then you're crazy. A lot of this does have to do with the front office. A lot of this does have to do with Andrew Friedman. But I just have such a very difficult time for just the mere fact of the Dodgers not saying, well, we should just try something different because this clearly has not got us to the path of winning a World Series, or at least a 162-game World Series.
Yeah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. And you yourself, knowing this better than anyone, you did an incredible job covering the Lakers for so many years, is that to really get over the hump and just satisfy everyone and keep everyone quiet, at the end of the day, you have to win championships. And when you have unlimited resources, no salary cap, you have had the ability to go out there and commit $1.4 billion in the offseason, you need at the very least to advance to the next round. I mean, last couple of seasons, 211 wins, 1 win to show for it. This season, best record in baseball, you already split in the NLDS. So, look, the truth of the matter is it's a results-based business, and fans are not going to accept this because last season, it was okay. You overachieved. You won 100 games. You had a compromised Clayton Kershaw, a rookie Bobby Miller. Lance Lynn just gave another home run. That's not a World Series winning rotation. This season is totally different because you signed the best player on the planet. You signed Superman in baseball cleats in Shohei Ohtani, and Shohei Ohtani has already had his moment in early on with the home run that he hit in Game 1. But if that's the highlight of the season, if all we're talking about is, okay, how do you remember the 2024 Dodgers? And the answer is, it's Shohei's 50-50 season. That's a major failure because I think the big kicker in all of this is I don't think fans realize that this championship window is not as big as fans might expect because Mookie Betts, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, who was 32. By the way, I just got a text, Amber Alert on my phone for Mookie missing. So hopefully someone can find that. I mean, but no, in all seriousness, Mookie's 32 and he's supposed to be in his absolute prime, right? Freddie Freeman, he's 35. And last couple of seasons, you have Braves fans that'll tell you, Freddie Freeman's a Dodger just because the Braves didn't want to pay him and this and that. Truth of the matter is, Freddie Freeman had his best 2 individual seasons with the Dodgers in his career. And I've always said he's like baseball's version of fine wine, the way he's aging. But the truth is, you're starting to see injuries pile up. And those are your core top 3. The biggest advantage that the Dodgers have over the Padres is their 1, 2, 3 in the lineup. Is really, for the most part, Tatis is great, Machado's great, right? But you look at the talent level there, we're talking about MVPs, future Hall of Famers.
Sure.
And 2 of those 3 right now, one is injured and is aging. The other has, for his last 22, has really struggled in the last couple of postseasons. So if you're not taking advantage of those 3 players' primes, when are you going to win a championship, right? Teoscar Hernandez is on a 1-year deal. He set himself up for a big payday to go out there and have a nice 4 or 5-year contract with another team potentially. Will Smith, you signed on a 10-year, $140 million contract. He was a 200 hitter for 3 months of this season. Max Muncy hasn't been the Max Muncy we've seen in years past. So I think you have to capitalize on this lineup because this lineup is not going to get better next season. It has the potential to get worse because of age, because of the players that you're not going to have access to in Teoscar Hernandez. And then you shift to the pitching side. Really, the reason why they're in this mess or this early in the postseason is, look, I don't want to say they're a bust because it's too early to call people a bust as far as their signing. But the truth is they put a lot of their eggs in the Tyler Glasnow basket. Unfortunately, we know when he's on the mound, he takes a backseat to no one when it comes to pure stuff. He's not available. He's injured. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, He struggled in game 1. He missed 2.5 months of the season. Their 2 big frontline starting acquisitions have not delivered. And then Jack Flaherty, he pitched okay at best, but he's not someone that you traded for to be a number 1, number 2. He really fits more as a number 3 or number 4 for a World Series contending team. So the truth of the matter is this is not a team built for the next 8 to 10 years. They're built for the next 2 to 3 years.
That's such a good observation, because I got to be honest with you, as somebody that, obviously here I am, I'm a San Diego Padre fan. I'm born and raised in San Diego, and you kind of just feel like with the Dodgers, like this is never going to end, but all things end. But I guess my point that I'm trying to make, and your perspective there, is you just feel like when they go through everyone they signed in the offseason, when Shohei Ohtani signed, followed by Yamamoto, followed by Tyler Glasnow, you're like, why are we even playing the game?
Yeah.
Well, this is why we play the game. Like, this is literally, this year is a perfect example of why you say, roll the ball out there and just see what happens. Because out of nowhere, a Padres team can trade Juan Soto, go acquire a couple of guys, take some of the guys that they acquired, and also go get Dylan Cease and go get Luis Arraez, who maybe in today's world of baseball doesn't have the RBIs and doesn't have the home runs, but he's still valuable to the San Diego Padres. This is why you play the game, because you don't know what's going to happen. And, Dodgers did they did things when I was doing the show with Travis, and Trav very well, Travis Rogers. You guys do the Locked On Rams stuff together as well. But when I was doing the show with Travis, I remember a lot of conversations that him and I would have, and I tell Trav, I'm like, Trev, this is not Dodger-like. Is there, and this is what I mean by it's not Dodger-like. And then I got a lot of questions for you, because I want to get your opinion on the Padres and just your thoughts on kind of their situation as well. But what I said it's not Dodger-like is the Dodgers don't throw 130 million plus to an injury-prone pitcher in Tyler Glasnow. And what Tyler Glasnow has been for his career was exactly what he was for the Dodgers this year. Unbelievable ace, can shut down anybody. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if he's going to be available by the time the end of the season comes around, and that's exactly what happened. Yamamoto they gave, and I understand, if it wasn't the Dodgers, Cubs would have gave him that contract. The Red Sox would have gave him that contract. The Yankees would have gave him that contract. Go down the list. The Phillies probably, go down the list of all the other premier big-time markets that would have stepped in and said, not only are we going to give him this contract because we think he's going to be a great baseball player, but the marketing that comes with it, the ability to now market he's his own global brand. But there's also no guarantee that Yamamoto is going to be. How do we know what Yamamoto is going to be in 2 or 3 years? I have no idea. And what we've seen so far, I don't think people are sitting back and saying, and maybe you have a different opinion on this. I don't think people are coming back and saying, oh, yeah, this guy, give him 2 years, he'll be the best pitcher in baseball. I didn't see anything this year that would tell me that or assure me of that. I think I asked that full question is because do you feel like in the offseason, once they signed Shohei, was there desperation is not the right word, but was there a little bit of whatever we've done in the past to get here, screw it, spend as much money as you need to because we have to show that we can make a deep run. And also I'm sure there's pressure of Shohei Ohtani saying, I'm obviously coming here. I need to win.
Yeah, it almost felt like you're at the mall on December 26th and you're just trying to spend all your Christmas money in one day. And they kind of had this mentality like, we are going to load up, right? We're sick of not having starting pitching. And I think when it came to those 2 acquisitions, first the Yamamoto one, it was the Dodgers. They've spent years over there scouting Japanese pitching and getting back into the Japanese market. I remember asking Andrew Friedman that offseason about getting back to the Japanese market. And he told me that the way that they're developing pitchers in Japan, it far is advanced what we've seen here in the United States as far as their ability to pitch in the postseason, staying healthy. It was something that was supposed to be a reason why they went to that market. And I think with Yamamoto, the big key was the Dodgers have money, right? And they don't want to spend $200 to $300 million on a starting pitcher in the traditional way you do it in the show. Because when you do that in the show, you're getting someone that's 29, 30, 31 years old. The unique thing about Yamamoto is they were able to spend $325 million, but get a starting pitcher at age 25, get him in his absolute prime, heading into his post-prime version of his career, right? So they wanted that without having to give up assets. The only asset you give up is money, and they have that in spades. And with Tyler Glasnow, the acquisition came down to, one, the relationship with the Tampa Bay Rays. They're natural trade partners. Friedman ran the show in Tampa Bay for so many years. And then two, the Dodgers were on a short list of teams that Glasnow was willing to sign an extension with. So when the Dodgers were willing to trade Ryan Pepiot and John DeLuca, two assets, they were only willing to do it if you're going to get a player in Glasnow, they were going to trade for him and extend him. So they were able to pull that off. I think that's a big thing in this equation here is the Dodgers, they like to get deals done when they can maximize their assets. Whereas you mentioned Dylan Cease. The Dodgers, they had the assets to get a Dylan Cease, right? They had the assets to go and get in Corbin Burns, but those are Scott Boras guys, right? The Dodgers, they don't want to give top assets for rental pitchers. That's not what they do. They only are able to give up top assets when it makes sense from an extension standpoint, or they have a couple years of team control. And Cease did come with a couple years of team control. But I think if you're this Dodgers team, they have their natural trade partners. And I think, too, it's like one thing about this Dodgers team is kind of talking to people around the organization is they consider everything. And I think with Glasnow, the everything was 6'8" guy, looks like a movie star, is from Santa Clarita, can sell him, bobbleheads, jerseys. I think all those things are a factor. And look, let's be honest. When he was on the mound this year, he pitched like an ace. He was a top 5 pitcher.
Of course.
Unfortunately, everyone said, Tyler glass arm, it's going to happen. It's going to break. And doesn't matter what you do. And unfortunately, the people that were the naysayers about Tyler Glasnow, they turned out to be 100% right as far as him being injury prone. And that is leading to this situation with the starting pitching. Now, as far as it goes in this series, I think you look at what you got from Yamamoto in game one. One thing you have to hope for is let's not forget what happened in Seoul, South Korea. When he made his debut there, threw 43 pitches, gave up 5 runs, everyone was saying Yamamoto's a bust, and then he went on to pitch really well throughout the course of the season. So hopefully he can bounce back, and when his stuff is right and he's landing his fastball in the zone to set up that splitter, to set up that yo-yo curveball, he can be very effective. Only issue is the Padres are extremely talented hitters that do not strike out, that put the ball in play. So they're really kind of an Achilles heel type of opponent for him to go against. But yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to, can the Dodgers find a way to get some level of quality from their starters, and can this offense do damage against the Padres pitching? I think one thing that stands out for me, Alan, is Yu Darvish threw 83 pitches to 25 batters. That's 3.32 pitches per batter, okay? You need to make these guys work a little bit and get to that bullpen quicker.
No, that's insane. That really is. I mean, that stat specifically is insane. D-Mac, I'm curious to get your opinion on this. So I know we hit a lot on the Dodgers, and there's going to be a lot over these next couple of days, and we'll kind of see how things play out. One thing on Yamamoto, listen, he's had moments, and you'll remember this better than anybody else. I think it was a Saturday night at Yankee Stadium. Yamamoto was given the ball, went 7 innings. I can't remember. I had the stats here of his exact line, but it was a big-time situation. It was an incredibly hyped-up game. I'm sure incredibly exciting for him as well. And he dealt. He was incredible. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I could find that. I don't have those stats right in front of me. I had them earlier, but he's had moments like that. I guess the question now is going to be, will he get that opportunity? Because it's going to come down to, if it comes down to game 5, which I think it probably still will come down to game 5. How do the Dodgers and Dodger fans view the San Diego Padres, and how do you view the organization? How do you view the fan base? I'm very curious because, and I'll give you my reasoning for it, or why I'm asking you the question. When I say San Diego Padres, what comes to your mind?
There's hatred. There's bitterness there, and it's building. I think for Dodgers, like for average Dodger fan right now, they're not thinking about the Giants. They're not thinking about the Cardinals or the Yankees. I mean, the ones that don't want to accept that it's a rivalry are ones that actually are the most insecure about it being a rivalry. The truth of the matter is, and I've said this for a couple years now, is it reminds me of the Lakers and the Suns, the Lakers and the Kings, where, for
That's good
hundreds of
comps.
years, it's not going to be this big rivalry, but because of the players on each team, because of the proximity, because they have beaten them, they have slayed that dragon a couple years ago, because of the matchups that we've seen. Because of that, right now, it is the best matchup in baseball. It's the most anticipated matchup in baseball, even more than the Dodgers and the Giants right now for this team, in my opinion. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you got fans interacting constantly. You have all these, every time there's something that kind of cools down, it's, Padres are blocking Dodgers fans from buying tickets. There's all these little jabs between these two franchises. And I think for right now, there's hatred. I truly do, because I think it went from this cliche, little brother, big brother thing, right? But then it's like little brother comes back from college and you're playing one-on-one at Thanksgiving and he actually wins that matchup. And you're like, oh crap, like what's happened? I got to like step my game up. That's kind of how it felt like to me.
I love
And the
that cop.
Dodgers,
That's a good cop.
that's just how it feels like to me. And I think if you're the Dodgers, it almost is the best thing you could ask for, because like you mentioned during the show, kind of the one thing that you can criticize about this team is they're just this kind of even keel vanilla team, not a lot of attitude. If this version of the Padres doesn't bring that fire intensity out of you, no team, no matchup will, and you got to shake things up. But as far as the rivalry goes, I mean, I think that we have something lasting because of these matchups. Rivalries are only good as the matchups, right? And I think for these two teams right now, there's no better box office material than you're going to have. I mean, this is great. This is great for baseball, especially with the inclusion of Shohei Ohtani. And I think, too, as far as for me as a fan of the sport, I've always looked at the Padres as, you know what? You got to respect what Peter Seidler, what A.J. Preller have done. Most franchises in a market like the San Diego Padres market would look at the Dodgers and say, $1.4 billion, Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, we'll wait this out. We'll wait out that 10-year contract, then we'll go all in. We'll wait this out. Instead, they did the exact opposite. They went out there and they put together a roster to try to compete with this Dodgers team and compete for a World Series. And it's been bedlam down there. I mean, I think, I covered a game down in San Diego. I mean, games where there's no Padres games, you go out and gaslamp. Everyone's rocking Padres gear, man. Everyone's rocking the hats. Everyone's, even people even rocking the one that looks like a 90s Taco Bell. You know what I mean? Like it's Padres fever. So I think that Major League Baseball could learn a lot from San Diego, because there's no such thing as a small market owner, right? They all have access to tons and tons of money. But I will say that 2022 is the first time that it became real, because the Padres took something from a Dodgers team, a 111-win Dodgers team. They beat that team, and that became the first team in big league history to win at least 110 games and not make it to the NLCS or the ALCS, right? So you took something from them. Now, if you do it again with Ohtani, then it's getting really, really personal, and it doesn't matter what people want to define it as. The truth of the matter is the Dodgers have a Padres problem, and they have a chance to solve it in the series, but we'll see. We're going to learn a lot if they have the answers to that question, if they can solve it.
There is definitely when you think of the Dodgers, the way I view the Dodgers, it's like this Goliath, because the San Diego Padres have always been way in the shadow of this organization. And, it's easy to make your excuses. And I love the way you just described, wait a minute here. Peter Seidler, who clearly was an owner, and he did it by action. I want to win a World Series. He had the quote before the 2022 series about slaying the dragon up a couple hours away, or whatever the case is. But what you just said is you have to respect it. And I think that's the only thing that I'm trying to emphasize to a lot of Padre fans out here. I get it. It is the Dodgers. You do have this mindset of, oh my God, this team again. And it's not that much different than if you're the Phoenix Suns or the Sacramento Kings, or think of all the Portland Trailblazers. You could kind of look at these franchises and you look at the Lakers like the freaking Los Angeles Lakers. Now, there's a big difference. The difference is Lakers have been winning NBA championships since Dr. Jerry Buss brought that franchise. I mean, they stacked 11, 12 championships. The Dodgers have won since 88, and it's obviously the one. Listen, you can't not say it was a short season. Give them credit. But I'm sure every Dodger fan is saying to themselves, yeah, we want one under our belt with 162 games since 1988. But I think the thing that I'm getting more comfortable with, which is so important as a Padre fan, we could beat them. And I don't think you've always had that. I think it's very common to not have that feeling when you're going up against the Dodgers. And I think that's what's making this series so good. If you and I chatted on Saturday, you won't be surprised either way. If I told you, man, the Dodgers pulled it off in 5, or if I said the Padres won in 4 or 5, neither one of those would be a surprise or a shock, which means this is a competitive matchup. These are two teams that are going up against each other. And this is the only way you could create a rivalry, is if you actually face each other in the playoffs. And I'm not sure who's going to win. And this is the third time in the last 5 years that they faced each other. And it's one of the few times that I could walk around and say, oh, no, we can beat the Dodgers. Listen, maybe if the Dodgers had every pitcher that they had, maybe if everything was perfect, maybe the story would be different. But that's baseball. And if it's the Arizona Diamondbacks or some of these other teams that have gone, the Nationals went out of nowhere, the Kansas City Royals, I have no idea. All the teams left, would you be any team that I pick that's left in Major League Baseball, I could give you a story and a reason why they're going to end up winning the World Series. For a first time, like I mentioned, I love what you said about 2022. 2022, it was, well, we didn't get there because of them. And if it happens again in 2024, I couldn't agree more that. And I love the Padres are a problem for the Dodgers. It's just a great way of explaining it.
It absolutely is. And it's just kind of like what I mean, when I wake up at 3:30 in the morning in a cold sweat, think of the Padres, right? I'm not thinking of the Giants. I'm not thinking of the Royals or the Yankees, because I truly believe if you're a Dodgers team that can get past this Padres team and all the confidence that it would give you, knowing that you got that Padres kind of monkey off your back at this point, you set yourself up for a 7-game series. And that has always been the issue, is that the Dodgers' depth on the margins, it plays out in the course of a 7-game series, not necessarily the course of a 5-game series. And I think that that's why it's so pivotal. And yes, the pitching issues, the way you construct you have a guy, Landon Knack, okay? Landon Knack, great young pitcher, but this is someone who he profiles out to be maybe a number 4 or number 5 starter in his career. And the Dodgers could be in a position where you're leaning heavily on a Landon Knack just because you're down the list of starting pitching options because of the injuries. And even you losing guys like Gavin Stone this season, even guys like Bobby Miller not working out. I was saying at the deadline, you need 2 pitchers just in case. So look, the truth of the matter is the way this series is going to play out, it's going to be largely determined by whether or not this offense steps up. I think tonight, wouldn't it be great if you're a Dodgers fan to actually go to the plate with a lead? It's mind-boggling when you look at where the Dodgers are at early in these games. The Dodgers haven't scored first in their last 5 playoff games.
Wow.
In the last 5 playoff games, in the first 3 innings, they've been outscored 24-4. They've been outscored in the first inning of their last 5 playoff games, 13-0. I have no life. I'm cooking up these stats last night. Okay,
at 3:30 in the morning.
Not at 3:30, by 11:30, something like that. But it's the ineptitude that they've had early in games is mind-boggling. And I think the big storyline tonight, I think kind of the feel-good storyline for me heading into this one, if you're a Dodgers fan, is that for so many years it was about how do we get Walker Buehler to the bump in a big game. Sure. And yes, this isn't the version of Walker Buehler that we saw in 2018 in Game 163 and in the World Series against the Red Sox, where he's pumping 98, 99 up in the zone, just overpowering and dominating hitters. He's already had his 2nd major elbow surgery, but he's at the best point that we've seen him this season. He had success against the Padres in the clincher in late September, and he understands how to kind of live through adversity in the postseason, right? How many times do you see him during the Braves series kind of work his way out of a bases loaded jam, right? If he has success or doesn't have success, it's not going to be because he's not aware of the potential the moment is going to have. So I think if you're the Dodgers, you get 4 or 5 innings out of Walker Buehler, 2-run ball, something like that. and then your offense can come out against Michael King, which is a tough test. He's a great pitcher who's had success against his Dodgers team, and get some early momentum. Get a lead early. The Dodgers are allergic to early leads. I think that is something that's going to have a big momentum shift in this series, especially if someone like Mookie Betts can go out there and have some success. And yeah, I think when you look at Mookie heading into this game, he's putting a lot of pressure on himself. And if I was at a bar with Mookie and we were just having some beers, I'd be like, Mookie, like, you are a 2-time World Series champion already, right? A 2-time World Series champion. You're an MVP. You're going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to the plate every single at bat like he has his whole career legacy to prove, and he's pressing. He just needs to be a version of the regular season Mookie Betts. I mean, this is a guy who has an OPS close to 900 for his regular season career, drops to 700 for the postseason. Okay? Like, he just needs to relax and be himself, because I don't care if you're a Dodgers fan or Padres fan. Padres fan, you're probably okay with it for sure. But to someone like Mookie Betts, who's like, he's really turned to this ambassador of the game, right? I had someone on my show yesterday making fun, saying that Mookie probably spent the off day doing a podcast with Manny Machado for his YouTube channel, right? Like, that's kind of what he does. So getting some early success for Mookie and getting ahead early and finding Walker Buehler navigate this lineup. I was kind of talking about the potential of having an opener for Walker Buehler, but I think that you give him the ball, you put the trust in him, and hope you get the results.
Yeah, it's funny. I was playing yesterday. I'm sure you heard it as well. After game 2, listening to Mookie Betts, there was no ounce of confidence in his voice. It's one thing to go 0 for 22 or 3 for 43, whatever that's that 3 for 42, I think, over these last couple of years in the playoffs. But it's how are you kind of presenting yourself? Where are you mentally? Nothing gave me the indication after game 2 that this guy is in a space where, I'm a bust out of this in no time. Guys, listen, we go through, this happens in baseball. I'm a square one up, and once I do, watch out. And I don't feel like, I think what you were just saying right there about you're pressing so much. If Mookie Betts stopped playing the game of baseball today, there's nothing left to prove. He's got a great resume, unbelievable resume. I don't think he's playing the game like that right now. I think he is playing the game, like you mentioned, with putting more mountains and mountains of pressure on himself, where it seems like it's, clearly taking an effect. I got one quick thing on what you said about Walker Buehler. So Buehler, I think Padres are in an interesting spot in tonight's game. And as you're sitting there saying that you're going to find out a lot about this Dodgers team, and let's use tonight's game as a good example. San Diego, are you so hell-bent on trying to beat the Dodgers? Are you so hell-bent on trying to get under their skin? Are you so hell-bent on walking around right now? Because that place is going to be rocking tonight. Is it all these other side stories, or is it, hey, the Dodgers are just in our way to get where we want to go as well? Because if the Padres eventually beat the Dodgers, that celebration should not be the way it was in 2022. And if it's the Philadelphia Phillies coming up next, or it's the New York Mets coming up next, we've done that. You had that taste. You got a chance to go to the NLCS, and you obviously lost. I think that's my only. How are the Padres getting distracted by this matchup? Are all these, the Profars, the Tatis, the Machado, the Dave Roberts coming out today and saying what he did? It is a game of emotion, and if it helps the Padres, great. But I have a curiosity about tonight's game as well, because there is an advantage. Michael King versus Walker Buehler. The Padres should win tonight after tying the series up 1 apiece, but that's not how baseball works. How many times you walk into a game and you see this dude's ERA is at 6, and then you got this ace pitcher from another team? It's like, how did they lose the game 5-3? That happens in baseball all the time. The Buehler piece of it, of the name is there. It's not the same pitcher, but can he have a moment? Of course he can. I don't know how confident Dodger fans are that he will have a moment. He doesn't need to pitch 7 innings. I think what you said, if he gave you 4 2/3 and he gave up 2 runs, every Dodger fan saying mission accomplished.
No, 100%. You would take that every single day, especially when you consider the fact that that Jack Flaherty start going 5 1/3 was the longest that we've seen since Max Scherzer in 2021. Okay. I mean,
Wow.
he was prime Sandy Koufax compared to what they've been used to of late. So absolutely, there's no question about that. You would take that. And yeah, when you put it like that, that to me is really one of the interesting talking points too, is that the Padres feel like they're so invested in just beating the Dodgers that it's like, yeah, you hear kind of, oh, is this their World Series? But no, I mean, I think a sign of their franchise going to the next level is saying, okay, this is just a step in the next direction to winning a World Series. And I think that if you're a Padres fan, that's what you want. But baseball can change quickly, momentum can change quickly, and if the Dodgers win just like that, the Padres are facing elimination in their home field, right? So that's what's great about this sport. Honestly, it's so unpredictable. Just look at yesterday, the home run off Clase in the Detroit game. I mean, look at the Royals going into Yankee Stadium. All these series could go long and go deep, but I'm telling you, this is the series to watch, man. I mean, we're witnessing greatness in real time as far as these two teams hopefully will bring the best out of each other and we see great baseball. I don't think there's a world where tonight's going to be like, 5-1 Dodgers. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's going to be, you're going to get the real close one tonight. We had a close one in game one. I think tonight you get the close one, and then the winner of this one, I think ultimately wins the series.
All right, Doug, final one I got for you. And I really appreciate your time. We got about 45 minutes together. So thank you for doing that.
Awesome. Yeah.
You're getting a lot of love here on the chat. A lot of people love your work, respect your work. So thank you for doing
I want to
what
say too, yeah, shout out to Padres. I recently had a back injury, and I had a lot of Padres fans reaching out to me. And the favorite comment I got, Alan, was, "I hate you, Doug. I hate the Dodgers, but I'm glad you're feeling better," in a prayer emoji. So
Listen, if that's not a compliment, I don't know what is. That's a great compliment right there.
That's what I'm saying.
I trust me, I get all the time. I get Sliwa, I love you. I don't know how you're a Padre fan and a Laker fan. I'm like, well, that's how it goes. Here's the one question that I have. And this is just a random business question that is more just my curiosity. When Shohei Ohtani signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers, what has that done for the channel, the Dodgers Nation brand? I told the story, I think it was yesterday I told the story. Saturday I went to the game, Padres Dodgers, bought a ticket at the last second. And when Ohtani came up, I was trying to figure out a moment like I've had in that situation when it comes to sports. Now listen, have there been situations? I was at Kobe's final game where he dropped 60. Okay. But that was the legend doing what he does. That's different. That man's already got 5 NBA championships, 20 years in the same jersey. Shohei Ohtani plays his first game at Dodger Stadium in a playoff game and comes up to bat. Nobody sits down. Every sponsor and advertiser, you got all these international brands that are just following this man everywhere he goes. I think he flied out. Okay, comes up again. Everybody gets up again. We know what happened. 2 guys on, hits a 3-run homer, throws his bat, rounds the bases, and it's like Shohei effing Ohtani. What the hell is going on here? We know that you kind of can't take your eyes off of him. The broadcasts, they keep talking about him. This is what they do. What happened to Dodgers Nation? What happened to in your guys' world the moment he signed?
Yeah, so thankfully, I mean, Dodgers fans are great. I've had my channel grow from almost 10,000 subs to 100,000 last 5 years. But with Shohei Ohtani, he absolutely feeds families. I think for me personally, going to spring training this year and Dodgers fans in Japan and Japanese media kind of watching the channel, I mean, they're treating me like I'm Bob Costas, Alan. You know what I mean? Doing interviews, doing spots and Japanese TV. And I'm like, yeah, I appreciate the love, but it was a little overwhelming. And then as far as just to give you an idea about how much, I always say he doesn't move the needle, he is the needle, and just kind of give you an idea. So usually I try to go to 1 or 2 games per series, right? Usually 1 because I do the post-game show from the studio, right? I go to 1 game, I go to the press conference, I ask Dave a couple questions, I take that video, I put it on YouTube, I upload it, get a couple thousand views, right? 1 Shohei Ohtani post-game press conference YouTube upload is equivalent to like 500 Dave Roberts uploads for the last couple of years. Like, just to give you an idea, that is the difference between him as an international superstar. You put Shohei Ohtani, Shohei dog, Shohei goes out and takes the trash, Shohei dancing. Anything Shohei Ohtani related, you have to remember, you're not just getting Dodgers fans, you're getting fans of all baseball.
Sure.
You're not getting just fans United States, you're getting 100 million fans in Japan. There was a poll that they did in Japan, and they asked the whole country, who's the most famous guy in the country? Not 99%, not 99%, 100% of people said Shohei Ohtani, okay? You do that in the United States, I don't know, Taylor Swift, I don't know, other people, who knows, right? Brad Pitt. You're going to have like a little mix there, right? But 100% of the country has him as the most famous guy. So, yeah, it's been great. I mean, I always say kind of we're living the golden age of Dodger baseball. And I think for Shohei, he's lifting this entire sport up. I mean, I think you look at this offseason, Roki Sasaki, the pitcher out of Japan, who knows? He could be a Padre. And the Padres could experience some of that international bump. They already have international players, but as far as having a phenom on your team and seeing what that does, it builds a lot of excitement. I think it really just speaks to kind of the health of Major League Baseball as an international sport.
It's a good way to put it, brother. Yeah, and listen, I know you have been, well before Ohtani got here, what you guys have built there has been very, very impressive. But there's this, and I go back to just that moment on Saturday, and I know it's a playoff game. I know it's his first playoff game, but it's like, geez, what is this brand? Like, I don't even know what this brand is. But it's one of the biggest brands and one of the biggest individual brands in all of sports. And
it's huge.
Yeah, it's almost, it's not that much different. I mean, it's sort of a comp. LeBron was already his own brand, and he went to the most popular basketball brand in the NBA, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. So just marrying those two together is crazy. Well, Doug, brother, I appreciate you doing this, man. Really, really good conversation. I love to hear it from both sides, both perspective. I love how fair you are when it comes to criticizing the Dodgers as much as praising them, talking about the Padres as well. I know the audience appreciated it. Let's see what happens here over the next week or so, but love to have you back on in a little, and we could kind of continue our conversation. But thank you for doing this, brother.
Let me ask you a question. What's the key to getting that Alan Sliwa mystique, though?
I don't know what that mystique is. So if I know what that mystique is, I will let you know. But I'm still not sure what that is.
Hey, man, you hear all about it. I'm just saying Alan Sliwa mystique is real, man. But, yeah, thank you so much. Anytime. Love talking Dodger baseball, and talk to you soon, Alan.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on. All right, great stuff right there. What a good dude. You know, it's funny. I've never had – Doug McKain and I, we've had some dialogue before, but we've never had an opportunity to kind of have that type of a conversation. And I'm going to tell you guys something. You know, what that last hour was for me is very, very close to what I'm hoping to create on this channel. I love these kind of conversations. I love to be able to go back and forth and give perspectives on both sides. So that was phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you sent a super in, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Always appreciate it. Tommy, I know you got a couple here. Sliwa, you made my morning. Have a Doug on. Thank you guys. I'm excited about tonight's game. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Obviously, I'd like to see the San Diego Padres win. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I am. You know, scared is a little bit too much here. There's other things in life to be scared about. But it's like I said, are the Padres and the Dodgers in a position right now where it's more about just it being personal? Or are you trying to win games? Are the Padres in the Dodgers' head, or did the Padres just get in their own head where they're now making it so personal about the Dodgers that you're losing focus of the big picture? I don't have that answer for you. I think we're going to find out. You know, obviously Walker Buehler versus Michael King. There's an advantage there for Michael King, but that doesn't mean anything in the world of baseball. Nothing but love. Thank you very much for joining the show for an hour plus on this Tuesday. No tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. We're going to be sitting right here. We'll be reacting to the game. Any other conversations that we think are good, I'm going to have it with you guys. Thank you so much for joining the show. There's one way to help out this channel. As you guys know, I'm no longer at 710 ESPN. Everything I'm doing now is independent. I just ask that you subscribe. That's it. Nothing else. If you can please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Hope you guys have a great night or a great rest of your day, a great night as well. And we'll be back tomorrow reacting to the Dodgers and the Padres. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day.